It's live now. It's live now. It's live now. Good night, everyone. Thank you guys for having me here tonight. Well, I'm so happy to be here with Freedom Radio Broadcast, and it's another night with Akira. Every first of the month, I'm going to be here for Bible study, and sometimes we're going to go really deep into the Bible, and sometimes we're just going to talk about stuff. So tonight, actually, I'm just going to be talking about a certain topic that I think everyone could agree with, everyone knows about, and I think everyone could kind of connect on this topic that I want to talk about tonight. And so I'm going to be talking about rejection. Now, what is rejection? What is that? Um, so what I did was look up the definition of what rejection was, and it was the spurning of a person's affections. Is a definition that I received, but I think most people have their own meaning of that. And I know that it's based on other people's circumstances, and what they go through, what they think rejection is, because I think in everyone's life it's different. When you ask somebody, are you feeling rejected or have you been rejected, they will say something different. Everybody has their own experiences, so that's why I say that. Um, and in the book that I'm going to actually be having, I'm going to read it again also later on. But this book is called Uninvited, and it's talking about just rejection in general and how she's been rejected, not just in life in general, but also from her father. Um, but it's just talking about rejection in like a different way that I haven't seen before. And in the book, it states rejection steals the best of who I am by reinforcing the worst of what's been said to me. How powerful is that? Rejection, stealing the best of who we are by reinforcing the worst of what's been said to me. So basically, the bad things that have been said to you, or maybe to yourself. We tend to say things to ourselves because of self rejection, which is another thing that we have evident in everyone's life, where it's self rejection, and that pours into other things like insecurities and things like that. But just people talking about you, or people saying things to you that you don't like, even saying things to yourself. Um, and that, just thinking about that and that, how it affects your life so heavily, so much, stealing the best years of your life, because now every moment is going back to that. Even if you don't say it blatantly out of your mouth, it's just the way that you live your life. It's the way that you move, and it's the way that you react to things. And so rejection is such a big topic, and it's something that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but I think it's just a good thing to talk about. um, and I like to be open, I like to be deep. So I think hopefully everyone's is willing to listen, willing to hear, and willing to um, really take something from this. I'm gonna pray before I go any deeper. So God, I just thank you for letting us be here today. I just thank you for calling us out from everyone else in this world. I pray that you help them to hear your voice through me and not to hear myself, God, that you will use me the way that you want to be, that you want me to be used, Father. And I pray that you will do so. Help them to learn something, help them to take something with them, and not just to watch it as a show, but to help them to apply to their lives and to listen and go deep into themselves to figure out, what is it? Yeah, am I rejected? What should I think about that? And what are some things that I know I'm rejected about, right? And so I just pray that you help me to do so. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. So So also rejection, she said in the book, was it wasn't just an emotion we feel, it's a message that God sends to the core of who we are, causing us to believe lies about ourselves, others, and God. We connect an event to do something. We connect an event today to something harsh someone once said or did, and that person's line becomes a label. That label becomes a lie, and the lie becomes a liability in how we think of ourselves and interact in future relationships. Okay, so first of the bat, rejection is just not an emotion that we feel. It's deeper than that, right? Someone could say they're rejected or they feel rejection, or they might not even say it. You can kind of look at them and just be like, feel that, because everybody has a feeling of rejection. So I feel like we know when someone else is being rejected, or they feel some type of way, or they feel like they're not wanted. So I think I can spot it out a lot of times. And so just off the bat, it's not just an emotion, it's something deeper than that. It's not just one plain thing that has one meaning. It goes deeper than the surface of things. Um, and it's a message that's sent to the core of who we are, right? So as we feel rejected, it goes into our hearts, it goes deep, and it sends a message, right? It sends a message of who we think we are about ourselves. And it's never really a good message when we feel rejected. And so rejection does that. It takes it to the heart. And that's where we get our insecurities from. That's where we get all the things about ourselves that we don't like, or things about ourselves that we want to change for people, or for ourselves, because people have contradicted it. So with these things, they're very much evident that it's causing us to believe these lies. And that's what we carry on for the rest of our life from a young age um, to whatever age we are now is what we carry on, and that's a lie. And it has lies about ourselves. Then we have lies about others and what we think of others and what they think they should be like, or what we think we should be like, and also about God and and how He might not even be there for us, or how He might not even be real. He might not even be evident in our lives, for people who don't know God, things like that. But that's what the enemy wants us to believe about rejection, right? He wants us to feel rejected in every way possible, about ourselves, about others, and about God, the most important person in our lives. So it's like, once we rejected and we don't go deep into our rejection or our feelings, we get stuck, right? I feel like we will get stuck because, we will get to that point, especially if we're falling after God, we'll get to that point where we, falling after Him. But if we're rejected and we have hurt that we don't want to bring to the surface, even if God is showing us this, or showing us that, okay, yes, we need to make sure that we get this out of the air. We need to forgive who we need to forgive. But yet we don't want to go deeper. We want to ignore all the signs because it's too much to handle for us. And so we don't want to do that. Even though it's not meant to hurt us, simply meant to just open us up to pour out whatever it needs to be poured out so that we can be able to grow in God. Right. And so the next part that I loved about it was that we connect an event today to something harsh someone said, once said or did. So that memory from a long time ago that could be connected to an event today. And what I mean is that, like, if somebody said something to me a long time ago and I felt rejected at that point, and then an event that happened today kind of brought that back, resurfacing everything. And then she said it becomes a label, right? This thing becomes a label, and then the label becomes a lie, right? Right, and then the lie becomes a liability. So how strong the phases that it goes through, how strong those are, from going to from going to a line, to a label, to a lie, to a liability, just shows the power of rejection. The phases that it goes through is not just something simple, as I stated. It's something that goes deep, and it hides itself within us so we can't find it. And then we forget all about it, but it contradicts everything that we do in our lives, regardless if we want to believe that or not. It does. When we are rejected, and it's a deep rejection, it contradicts everything. The way we act in relationships and future relationships. So the lie becomes a liability in how we think about ourselves and interact in every future relationship. Is a very evident also in future relationships, in any relationship. It could be friendship, or they can be your family members, or you can be your spouse. But it is definitely going to be shown. Either you want love or you can't take love, or something else dealing with it. But I know that rejection is the core of a lot of people's problems. And it's not like the only problem that we all have, because we all have problems, we all have struggles. But like, that is, I think, is a very much of a core problem that a lot of us go through, but don't want to talk about, don't want to go deep into that. And it's going to help us, but you know, people just want to hold things in. And we understand. I understand that I wasn't a person to talk about my feelings at all, and I think we all went through our phases of rejection, and probably are still in it. But knowing that God is with us at all times, and that we're able to speak to Him and speak to others that we trust. Hopefully, we trust people to speak to this about. even the people who you might feel rejected by, speaking to them about it. And I know it's a big step, but like that would be great. So, you know, I think taking a step further and being open and honest about your feelings and what you feel inside, and also talking to God, I think is the most important thing to do so. So, so also it is something we really identify with on different levels. For me, let me go back to like, I guess my first grade, or from my young age to now. First grade, I don't remember a lot. Second, third, I can probably, I don't know how I was reacting at that age, but I know that I didn't have my father in my life. So I know that I probably was showing signs of rejection, wanting love from this and that, doing this and that to get attention, just being bad or troublesome to get some attention, or from what I remember. And so from like first grade to third, I probably was doing those things. And we do these things to get attention. We do these things so that people will love us or will come to us, that we will feel like we're wanted. And maybe not from the person that rejects us, but from other people. Doing things that we wouldn't usually do um, is what usually happens. Now, from about fourth to like sixth, I could say that I did feel rejected. Um, I just, I don't know. I just felt different. I was a different person. I think we all are different in our own ways, which is beautiful. We're all different, and that is beautiful. But it's just, I felt out of place a little. It was different for me. And I know like more and more, like you go to school, and I think this is more on my rejection is more based on my father, but it's like um, you go to school and then you go to school and then you have like Father's Day, or you have like Valentine's Day, and nobody brings you anything. I wasn't a talkative person at all. So really, me not being myself, really not talking to others and doing all that and being outgoing, as I should have been, was the fault, was the reason. But I didn't see that at the time. I just saw like, oh my God, I'm not getting anything for Valentine's Day. I'm not doing this and that Valentine's Day. Um, all my friends are, or all the people that were my friends are. So it's like, what's happening here? You know. And so it wasn't, I think it blocks our eyes from saying, okay, this isn't, you weren't rejecting this moment. It was because you didn't want to speak out. You didn't want to speak to others. You didn't want to, make friends and things like that. And that's where I was. I didn't really talk to many people unless they talked to me at that point. And so now after fifth grade, well, fifth grade, I felt rejected a lot. I was like getting bullied, not in like a way that I was getting beat up, but it was just like a verbal. And I was friends with a friend, and her friend didn't like me, so she was just always cussing, always doing this and that. And it wasn't that bad, but it's like, what are you doing this for? I don't even do nothing to you. And so knowing me back then, I didn't really say anything. I just went about my day and did what I had to do. And we're cool now, but it's like that that stemmed rejection, and that opened doors to so many other things just from that rejection, just from like I barely had any friends, and like you're being this way. And it's, if we look at her, her own reasoning is, she might feel rejected as well. She might be doing something at home that made her speak to me in that way. And you know obviously at my age or at that time I wouldn't understand because I'm a child, but like now looking back at it, it's like, yes, we all have a reason for why we act a certain way, where we treat people this certain way. So it's totally fine. It doesn't make it okay for her to do what she did, but still at the same time, we have to also look at the reasoning. Some people act a certain type of way just to get attention, just to feel loved, and all those things, like I stated. So also looking at that and not just judging off the bat, like she's so horrible, she's so mean, blah blah blah, and just actually thinking first, and be able to connect with her. So yeah, rejection, fifth grade. Yeah. Then I moved, and then I moved into the house that I live in now with my stepfather. So that's another thing. So I didn't know him, and I didn't know him at all, actually. So, so I walk in. I'm in the house. I'm just like, okay, I don't know. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know this person, and yeah. So it was hard for me, and I think I was still feeling rejected because I'm like, I got, because I think like when I was younger, I did pray for a father, and I don't remember how many times I prayed for that. I don't know how many times I prayed for that, but I don't think it was that much. But yet, you see how like God works just from then to like how years has passed. And I think the last memory that I have praying about that was third grade, and I think that's when I actually talked to my actual father then. Um, and so, yeah, from third grade, and then fifth grade came, and that wasn't too long, but it's because I wasn't counting. I wasn't, really worried about that. I wasn't thinking about it as much. It's kind of just like a prayer that you remember from here and there and pray about it. Hopefully God answers it, and that's what it was. But because I didn't know him, it was like, is this, I don't know. So I feel rejected still because I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't know who I am either. So it's like, how can we connect on a level? How can we grow together? How can we know each other? That comes with talking and going out with each other, and yeah. But the way that I acted and the way that acted toward each other, I wasn't willing to do so, and I think that stemmed from the rejection. That stemmed from him not being my actual father and um, not being, yeah, just not being my actual father. And I think that um, angered me in a way that raised my anger and was just bad from there. And I allowed myself to do and speak and act in the incorrect way as a child shouldn't. And we make mistakes, but that's okay. That's why we repent. But still, doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it okay. So yeah, I think the rejection really was just there for me. And even though I couldn't see it, I went into just wanting validation from others, and wanting like to be loved. And like I think we all want that. We all want to be loved. We all want to be validated. Um and I've heard about God when I was growing up, but it's like I don't really know what's happening here. Go to church. I don't really know what's going on here, so I'm just gonna go to the source. And obviously, the source of what we could receive at that moment is flesh. So we go to the flesh, and they give you the validation that you want, and stuff like and things like that. And so I didn't really start doing that until like I don't know, maybe like seventh grade. Um, but I think after that, the relationship with my stepfather was just it was getting a little better. And I think after like eighth grade, it was good. It was all right. Then just up from here, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's because I wasn't open myself. Around that time in my life, it was just like chaotic. I was just angry all the time for no reason. I don't even know. Like I was angry, and you could say it's like we're not angry for no reason. We're not this and that for no reason. There's always a why. And so I didn't know the why. And I probably was at that moment probably was like, why am I getting angry? So angry. You know what I mean? Why am I getting so angry? Why am I getting so hostile? For what? Like for what? And that's not my train of thought at that moment. But I feel like when I came in my room, to calm down, because I feel like everyone goes in the room to calm down after they get mad and they know about the burst. Like after I already burst and I need to calm down before I do anything else, I come in my room and just like calming down. But I'm like, what am I so angry for? So I use other things. Like I think at that time I was watching movies and shows. I love those things. So at that time I was probably watching those things, and they would always calm me down. But it was like not like a bad anger, but it was a bad anger. It's not like anger that didn't go down. Like it went down. Like I got over stuff the next day or the day of. Yeah, I can't stay mad. But Yes, that just shows the rejection is so serious. It's so serious. It's so evident. I'm just like, we have to be like open. We have to know. We have to like really be aware of ourselves, because if we don't, we might burst. Before it's too late, we might burst open. And, as a child, we might not know our emotions, but as we get older and we hold those things in from the child and keep on going with that, we might burst, and it's not going to be a good burst. And it might ruin a lot of things in our life because we don't know how to control our emotions. We don't know how to go into ourselves and look at the rejection and talk about it. We don't keep things in. I mean, they hurt us when they keep it in. And if we could believe that and actually go and move on to spreading those things out, not to everyone, but to people we trust and to God, it would help us so evidently. So, like, how deep rejection really goes? I would say rejection really goes deep. Like, it's there to the point. Okay, sorry. Like, let me just read this. It goes so far that you forget it's there. It hides in the depths of everything and like covers itself. Um, yeah, and then I have a story for that. Like I think after that point of me being angry, then I went into another phase of rejection. Like, all right. I went into another phase of rejection. Okay, so right, so like I said, right, it goes so far that you forget it's there. You're rejected, and you're fine. Like I'm fine with my father now. We're cool or whatever. But I still didn't get the source of love that I needed. The thing that we all are clinging to, all the things that we want, and I didn't get that. And so I think that's the reason. And I don't want to be the source of everything, but it's like rejection is connected to everything. But for me, I think it was just me not knowing who I was. I think it's a big part of it, and me not really knowing love is, me not able to express love, and still some things I struggle with surrounding that. But yeah, anyways, right, it goes deep and it covers itself. So you think it's not there, you think you're cool, you think everything's fine. And of course, at the moment, I wasn't thinking like I'm rejected or whatever. But if you think about it now, yeah. So what I'm saying, so after that point, I was definitely not caring about anything. And that lasted a very long time, like a very, very long time. So it's for you to care about all of this and that, and for you to get mad about everything. And then you realize you don't care about anything. Like literally anything I did not care about at all. Like it was so bad. Like I would just be like, I don't care. Okay, I don't care. Oh, you're trying to steal? Okay, I don't care. So it was like that. I didn't care about anything at all. My mother was like, "Yeah, you gotta stop doing that. You gotta care, blah blah blah." I guess that's like another form of rejection where you just like blocking yourself from being open, blocking yourself from caring about anything that's going to harm you in any type of way. So I guess that's what I was doing. I was blocking myself from being harmed type of way. So I would say I don't care, so I wouldn't have to feel the effects of me caring. And so that's what I did for a while, and I stopped after I realized like I gotta care. I have to care. Yeah, but I think more recently, not recently, but like within a year or two of like 2020, 2019, I did not care. Sometimes too, I was still saying that because it's like maybe I wasn't saying that, but my actions showed it. And like actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. So with that being said, even if I wasn't say I don't care, my actions were definitely showing that I don't care. Okay, I don't care. And even if we want to be consistent, we were inconsistent and caring, and that's another key problem. And with that, it helped me to realize more and more that I'm still rejected. But why am I rejected? You know what I'm saying? We'll go deeper into that. But like, yeah, like I really didn't care. And there's many ways that we show our rejection. But for me, it was me caring and getting really angry and mad and screaming. And then after that point, me not caring about anything. Don't do that, guys. Okay, me not caring about anything. And then after that, me not caring a little bit. And now it's just me trying to open and express rejection or hurt, and to be open about it, because it's okay. It's not going to hurt me. And hopefully, when you guys are able to do this, if so, that it won't hurt you either. That you'll know that it's cool. It's cool to express your feelings. It's cool, man. It's cool. So, why do we feel rejected? So it's like, how do I feel rejected? Right? I mean, what does it feel like? So this is what I wrote. It feels like an unwanted friend. Like you texted the wrong friend over to text. I'm sorry, you texted the wrong friend over to talk. Right? It makes us think of things that we shouldn't about ourselves. The jealous friend has power. And this is what I mean. I'm gonna go more deeper into that. All right. So it's like a friend that, like, it's not even a friend, it's like a person, right? And you're trying to text your friend, and then like you text the wrong person, and they're talking to you. You just think you're talking to your friend, and you're not even talking to your friend, like that. A person, like an unwanted friend that you texted to talk, but you're talking to the wrong person. You text the wrong person, and now you have to be like, oh, sorry, wrong person, like that. But also, it's like this rejection makes us think about things that we shouldn't. And when I say this, things about ourselves, I think from my age of being in like middle school, from like 6th to like 8th grade, when I was in like private school, like at my other schools and like public school, rejection was definitely there. If I looked at myself back then, I think it was also my weight. I was really skinny, but the way that, I don't know what I was really thinking in my head, but I think like my weight was, I was like very small. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but when we look at ourselves in the mirror and we see ourselves, we don't see what God sees, right? We only see what we see or what we claim to be, because we have that rejection in us. We have that insecurity in us. We have the things that people tell us in our ear that are running through it. And even though we might hear the voices in our head at that moment, our actions show that. If I go in the mirror, I'm just like, no, I gotta wear this and that. I don't look good in that. This and that. I got to fix my hair like this. And I don't want to wear my natural hair out. So I never really wore my natural hair out. When my hair was permed, I was 6th grade, but like 7th grade and all of that, I did not wear my natural hair out really at all. It's because I wasn't bold in who I was. I wanted to feel like everyone else. I wanted to be like, and I did have friends, and that was cool, but I didn't want my natural hair to be out. I didn't really know how to wear it anyway. I was thinking out, so it wasn't me. And I would wear clothes, and not like bad clothes, but I would wear clothes and not feel good in it, right? I would wear certain shoes and I wouldn't feel good in it. And it's because maybe comparing myself to others or what they look like, or just trying to be everyone else and not me. And I'm not trying to be them, but it's like what I'm doing is not working, right? And like I want to feel love. I want to have friends and all that. And it's just like, it's not working. You still don't feel like it's, with all those things that you have and people that know you, you still don't get that feeling, that source, that love that you want, that you desire, right? We don't get that. Like nothing, no one could fulfill that feeling ever. It's always a moment where you're just smiling, happy. And then all of a sudden you're just sitting there looking at life and thinking about life, even when life is going good. You know what I mean? So it's like just that. Rejection was still stemming. It was still, so it makes us think about things that we shouldn't. Gives us the mindset of what others would probably say to us in a negative way. And also helps us. It makes us think about people in the wrong way too. We start calling people names. We start doing this and that. We probably like, no, we don't look good on you, blah blah blah. We just contradict everyone. Because we're rejected, we're insecure. We want to talk about people to make us feel better, but we shouldn't do that. We should know who ourselves are. Now we should look into the mirror and be like, "You're so beautiful. We're so beautiful." I do that, and yeah, I'm cute. Like we gotta say that. Like you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, and you're handsome. We are all these things. We should be open to express that to ourselves. God made us in that way, and we should be open and bold, and we should be ready to just wake up in the morning, praise God, and look in the mirror and give God thanks for the beauty that He created, and to know that even this rejection that I experienced in my life before, it does not make me who I am, and will not hold me back in any type of way. I will move forward in God, and that I will express whatever needs to be expressed, and I will forgive whatever rejection or wherever this rejection came from, so I can move on with what God had called me to be and what He called me to do. And yeah, so, and also the last part of that was that the jealous friend has power, right? And when I say this, the friend, like, they're not the friend, but like, jealousy stems from rejection. I think, like, I don't want to say it that way. Like, when we're rejected, get jealous. I feel like me, like, I don't really like to be jealous. I don't really try to be jealous of anyone. And if it comes like naturally. Like, it comes like, why am I jealous? Like, dude, I don't want it. Mm-mm, I don't want it. And I think before we would hold on our jealousy, whatever. But I'm jealous. I'm not gonna say like I'm do that all the time, because I don't. But depending on who you are, I'm going to try to express that. And I've been trying that a little bit more, but I don't really have anything to be jealous about at this moment, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think jealousy is another thing that comes from rejection. We're jealous of others. We want to be like them. We want to. They look like they're, living life. They feel like they look whole. They look like their life is fulfilled with everything, and you want that. We want things. And I wish I could explain this more better, but just being jealous of things. Yeah. And it has power within us, guys. It has power within us. So evidently. So, who makes us feel rejected? Right? The first thing is myself. Myself. And rejection doesn't come from straight from ourselves like right away. And it could, because it could be comparison of others, or the way people treat you, but it's like myself, right? That can make us feel rejected, or others that can make you feel rejected. And I think that's where it stems from other people. And then life can make you feel rejected. The way life is going, and it's not going good for you, it could be really making you feel rejected. You ask God for this, you ask God for that. And, He's not a genie, but you've been doing what He said, but yet you don't understand. God has a plan, and He does things for a reason. But we feel rejected in that moment. We feel rejected that life is not going good. That it's not going the way that we want it to go. And evidently, guys, like, that might not be what God has for you. So we don't want to just be too upset about that. But it's like, we also got to think, like, if God is not, if I'm not getting this from life, maybe this is not what God has for me. So I'm just gonna wait it out. I'm gonna pray it out. I'm gonna trust in God. And it's easier said than done, but I think in those moments when we kind of just like, what is happening, to give up and just give it to God. Yeah. The experiences that we go through, all those things that we go through, I think it's evident. I think it's very evident, the rejection. Those experiences, those are the ones that we look back on in our lives, and just like, those are the memories that we have that bring up the rejection, that bring up all those things that we try to hide. Yeah. And I think that's what happened to me, though. Like, the rejection. I think, okay, so after I was 15 and I was in grade, not, no, 10th. Yeah, 10th. So 10th grade, right? Okay. So, the 10th grade, and I went to Bahamas for the first time in my life. Cool. My mom was like, "You want to see your dad?" I think. I don't want to bring back the words. I really don't remember the words exactly. So we just went to Wendy's, got, a nice guava shake. I don't even like guava, but that junk was so good. Anyways, so, I'm just sipping my thing, and then we on our way, come with the car. Um, and, as a young child, you always think you look good. I probably didn't even look good. We always think we're, dressing all nice and all that until we look back at our pictures and just like, eh? so, so yeah. So I went there, and I believe he was like, wow, he walked out the gate, then he hugged me, and then I think we walked up to the door, which was like a pathway right there. Then, sorry, then he said something else. I don't remember what he said exactly, but he said something else, and I just started crying. And you're just like, oh, blah blah blah. Don't know why. I don't even cry in front of people, and um, yeah, I don't even cry in front of people. And I think that's just like a mechanism so that another thing from rejecting, like a mechanism to hold it in, to not let it out, to just, I don't want people to see me cry. It's not. So it's like, yeah, just started crying. And then he hugged me. I said, I love you. And I'm just like, at that moment, obviously I said it back, but now looking back at it, and I said to my mother a couple weeks ago, and I'm trying to remember what the other book said. It's such a beautiful book, but like the other book was stated like, in her story, she was talking about her dad as well, and she was speaking about, he said a word that didn't belong to him, right? It's not in a bad way, but um, it's like love in general. I think we're all clueless. Um, if we're not like going from God's like version or definition and not living by that, we're all clueless of what love really is. And so for him to say I love you and him not knowing who I was and me saying that back, it didn't belong to either one of us. We didn't deserve to say I love you at all. And I think after that point, after a while, I stopped saying I love you people. I'm like, I don't want to say it unless I'm truthful, like unless I actually do that. And people are like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. But like, no, that's lying. If I don't love you, I'm not going to say I don't love you. And that was before like I was in Christ, and that was before like, God said, before I realized that God had to love everyone. Yes, I'm going to do so. I'm going to try my best. But it's like, um, at that time, I'm not going to say that I love you if I don't love you. And I guess I was more in like a relationship era. Like, that's what I meant. That's what I meant specifically. Yeah, relationships. So I wasn't really talking about like friendships. And I was like, yeah, even them too. But yeah, not to say I love you. And even then, when he said that, I didn't feel anything. You know, it wasn't like I said. Like people, flesh doesn't do anything for us. Like we want the love from our families and things like that. Yeah, it's beautiful, but God really is the only source of what love we will ever like sustain us in every type of way. We can't really go to the flesh. We can't really go to man for that love because it's not going to do anything fully for us. It would, other people, people that we love, yeah, but like fully for us, God, like, you know. And so yeah, I wasn't really feeling the love. I don't know, like it was just like I felt obligated to say it back. Felt obligated to say I love you back, and it was like, okay, Akira. And then after that point, probably was still feel rejected because we tried to talk and it just wasn't it. I think after type person, like it just doesn't. If it doesn't make sense to me, I'm not going to continue it. So I stopped the conversation. Um, yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, no, I did. I stopped the conversation basically. I not really saying anything at all, to be honest. I think I just ended the conversation with whatever words that I did, but not saying that I was ending it. I just ended it, and it was just like maybe I was still feeling rejected inside, and it was just like it was a no for me. It was a no for me, and then I get aggravated and annoyed. Um, yeah, it was a no for me, and it was a new thing, but the rejection was still hitting. I wasn't going deep because I never had any hard feelings towards him, and that's the weird thing to have, right? If we don't have no like hard feelings towards him, I think that's a problem. And it's not like we have to be harsh on anyone. That's my father, and he weren't there. So for me to be like, oh, that's fine. No, I think there's something happening there that I'm not saying. And me reading books more and more, and I didn't know that this one was about the father, which was a coincidental, and the other one too was coincidental too. But I guess for women with the fathers missing, I think that's a lot evident in a lot of people's lives. So that's just the other book really helped me to look at that, like wow, father identity, rejection, so many things, like, and just the fact that like what like love, like rejection, like he was the source of my rejection. And then when he came and said, I loved you, I still feel rejected. I still felt like I didn't know who I was. And he can't make who I was, but he's a big part in me knowing that, too. It's like a missing piece, right? In my life, because I had my mother, which is a beautiful person to help me, throughout my life with God, grace on her life. So it's like, yeah, but it was still a missing piece. And I think that was the key. That was the problem. And you go there thinking that it will sustain that when you get there, but no, it won't. Especially if the person didn't actually mean it, and I didn't actually mean it. Based on the actions of him, he didn't actually mean it. So, and it might be him rejected too. It's like we also have to look at the other person too. We want to be smart about what we say before we say it. And so rejection was still there. And I would say it still is, but that's okay because if I'm able to open it up and seek it to what it is and really go deep into what that feeling is, it's something serious. Yeah. So, what other things stem from that? So I'm gonna read a part in the book actually that states this thing that says the lies. 1 second. Okay. So it says, "You aren't worthy" becomes a script of self-rejection. It is unleashed suspicion, doubt, hesitancy, and many other liabilities that hinder present relationships. We project the lines of rejection we heard from our past on others and hold them accountable for words they never said. Oof, oof. And worst of all, we catch ourselves wondering if God secretly agrees with those who hurt us. Okay, so actually, like, hmm, I think something from that. So, so it says suspicion, doubt, suspicion, doubt, has hesitancy, and many other liabilities. Wonderful. But one thing that really caught my attention was that the changing of words that people didn't even say. So this next part of it is that what I had was there is a constant confusion of meaning when others speak to you. And this is what I mean when I say this. Like, are you implying things are words that individuals did not bluntly say? A rejection causes us to think that everyone is against us in every area. So that's what I'm saying. Like, for her to say, we project the lines. Oh my God, we project the lines of others from the past on people who are in the future. I mean, in the present, and they have nothing to do with that. Those words don't even match up. We put words on them that they didn't say. We react to the people that we shouldn't even be reacting to, right? So we mix those two together. From the people from the past, we put it with the people in the present, and really mess up the relationship that has it here, because now we're putting words in people's mouths, and we're holding them accountable, and they haven't done anything. Most likely, they haven't done anything at all. But I think it's very evident that we confuse people's meanings when we feel rejected. We feel like everyone's against us, and so what we would do is just kind of like put the people in their present in the forefront, as if they did something. Like, say if like an example, like, oh, John, I like your hair today. Oh, you didn't. So you telling me that my hair looks bad every other day? No, I'm just saying that it's sticking out today. Just, So you see how we mix that up? Like, saying things I didn't say. I didn't say your hair looked bad the day before, the day before, the day before. But I'm saying today, maybe I'm just noticing it. I'm just noticing for today, and I think it looks really good. We can take a compliment and not get offended or not think of other things that the person didn't say out their mouth. It would help so much. But it also is also rejection, you know what I mean? And even if we're not willing to open up at this moment, we should be aware that let's not do that. Let's not put words in people's mouths. That's like, I don't want to say that's my pet peeve, but I don't like that at all. It's Like I try to say what I mean and mean what I say. Especially I'm going to be open and honest about something that's a big topic. I'm going to be I'm going to try to do so. So please don't put words in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? Don't put words in my mouth. Okay, so another thing that I see that happens also with rejection is offense and defense. Okay, so that is offense. The spirit of offense is very evident where rejection lies for sure. And so it is the need to react in an emotional way because you are offended, right? So once we are offended by people's words, by people's things, we react in an emotional way that is not really not really not really necessary to do so. Not really necessary. And so then with that emotion, then we use our defense system to defend ourselves, um, to make sure that they understand who we are as a person, even though they might already know. You want to defend yourself and what you look like as a character, which also is pride, but also doing that, making sure that they know who you are, even if you don't know who you are. So yeah, defense. I was doing so. That's why back day I was always arguing all these things, trying to defend myself, trying to make myself look good, trying and not like on purpose, but on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So I was really trying to defend myself, like, cause I'm like, if I know that I didn't do nothing, why don't I just stick up for myself? If nobody else is gonna stick for me, let me stick up for myself. Because, like, let me stick up for myself because I know I did not do this or that, and I'm gonna prove my point, and you're going to hear me, even if that means I'm yelling. But now it's like, what's the point? If you know you didn't do anything, if you know this and that, then no point. There's no point. There's no point of proving your point. Because that's pride. But I didn't know that at the time. And I don't think at the time, even if I did, I would care. Like I said, I was not into God like that. Just because I didn't really know who he was. And so, but like, and I'm not saying that I do now, but more of an understanding of who he is and how great he is. But yeah, the spirit of offense and defense is a strong thing. Um, just to make ourselves feel better about ourselves. We defend ourselves or make people, or even with that offense, we would say things back to people so that they would feel bad. Kind of like a type of bullying, but we would do that to make us feel better, feeling that we won the little thing. Maybe we say something so bad that they don't talk anymore, knowing that we won it, make us feel better. But no, just as worse as them who are talking about who's talking about me or you. You know what I'm saying? And yet we're still feeling better. We're still in that same hurt. So you kind of just put yourself deeper in that pit as you continue to do that, as you continue to go to the source of talking about people and maybe defending yourself and just instead of letting it go or being offended by it. Like, why are we offended? I mean, it's because I think offense is also, coming from the sorry, the opinions of others. It's coming from the opinions of others, but it's also the substance we hold in those opinions. If we don't care, I think that's when we shouldn't care. If we don't care about people's opinions, the ones that are trying to hurt us and things like that. And we should also listen for everybody's opinions because they might be helping us, right? We have to be noticing like which ones are trying to come at us. And if we don't care about those things, we won't be offended. Let's pray against the spirit of offense because it does nothing for us. It doesn't help us in any way. It's to kind of hold us back. We get offended by these little things. We try to like, why am I offended? You just call me dark. You should be. I should be smiling. Like nothing's wrong with the skin tone, right? So we should, smile. Okay. Oh, your teeth. Oh, it's okay, but God made me this way. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Don't forget. Don't forget. So all these things, we just like look back at ourselves and just like, we don't need to be offended because we know what God says about us. And usually we get offended because people say something about us, what we look like, or maybe what we are doing, what we are good at, what job we have. But all those tie into what he says, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And we can give the credits to God. If we know that God is literally the source of what we do or what we're good at, what we look like, who we are, then we will never get offended because we know that without him, I'm nothing. So if you want to talk about, if you want to talk about, um, if you want to talk about me in that way, it's okay because I know that all these things that I have, everything that I am, everything that I do, is because of God. You're talking about him at this point because we are one, and so if we could change that into that, we will never get offended because I think when we give credit to ourselves too much, I feel like it's pride in a way when we give our, because we should humble ourselves and give credit to God because he's the source of everything. Like even if I created a dance, it wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? Even if say if I wasn't with God and the Holy Spirit wasn't working in me, or I wasn't a Christian and I may have created a nice dance, whatever, it wasn't me. It was God. God created me. So therefore everything belongs to him. Everything that I am good at, everything that I am belongs to him. And so the source goes to him. And I shouldn't be offended because it's not me, it's him. I should be offended for him, but I shouldn't even be offended at all. But it's like God knows who he is. I know who I am. He knows who I am. So we never should be offended. We should be here in the back like, okay, it's fine. Whatever. Period. All right. But let's talk about God again, though. How do we reject God? God is evidently rejected every single day. And I would say when thinking about rejecting itself, we tend to think of ourselves and our own experiences. But let's switch that rejecting from for ourselves. I think we talked about ourselves enough for today, Takira. So let's move on. But what about God, right? He's rejected by a million people every single day. Every single day he's rejected. But guess what? He's evident. He is still there all the time. Evidently every day. If that was me, if I was God, and my characteristics, not his, right? Because obviously if it was his, I would react in his type of way. But in my characteristics, I would definitely give up on all of you guys because it's I would give up if I was, yeah, I would give up on everyone. I'm doing this for that, doing this and that for them, and I know they can't. I'm just this is me, God. I know they can't see me or anything, but I have given them so much, and they know that I'm there. My presence is evident in their lives. They pray for things, and I answer them. I give them things. I give them miracles, blessings, and I give them answers to things that they need answers to without even speaking to them, audibly. And so, and they still treat me like this. I give them everything. Everything that they own is mine, and I've given it to them. I'm going to take it. If that was me, I'm going to take it away. Because it's we feel, and I feel like God will feel rejected. It's evident. We reject him every single day. Him and who he is in our lives. It's one day I'm trusting him and I'm going to his presence and I'm reading his word, and the next day I'm just scrolling through my phone, or not even scrolling through on YouTube. I kept myself on YouTube so long. I just watching food videos and stuff, but that took time, unnecessary time. Right? I have no other thingy app anymore except for YouTube. And so that took time. But it's I should be seeking presence every single day. It shouldn't be, if I know how good he is and all these things, then I should be willing to go back into that and not make it feel like it's a burden. Because it's not a burden. It's not a burden at all. Right? It's not a burden at all. It's not a burden at all. And so, let's just think about God. In that moment, he is willing to help us with our rejection if we open up, of course. But we also want to talk about God himself and how we reject him. And it's he doesn't really deserve this. Right? He doesn't. Even the best that we can give him is not even enough to what he deserves. Yeah, it's not even enough to what he deserves. I think our death is maybe a step to giving him what he deserves, but even that, I think, is not enough. And so it's God is very much important. And I think once we could stop rejecting him, even I'm talking to the people that are not even, that are contemplating, wanting to be halfway in, halfway out in the world. And I don't know what that means for any of you guys, but it could be like a little bit like, you know, just for people who are contemplating, it's like, what are we losing here? What has God done to you that you shouldn't trust him? That he says in his word, like, what can you go in his word and say that, that you shouldn't go into, unless it's going against, your desires that you like and the lust that you like, then that might be excuse for why you don't want to go into God. And, that's for you and God to talk about. But it's like, we should stop rejecting God. He's there. And after a while, he's gonna call you, right? But after a while, it's like, if somebody's not listening, if somebody's not open to hear, you back up. Maybe wait until you get ready. But it's like, we don't know when we're gonna leave this earth. We don't know. So we don't want to take that time and just be like, okay, I'm going to, just do what I want to do a little bit, and then I'm gonna go into God. We don't know our lives. We don't know our future. We don't know the next day at all. We can plan these things, but that don't mean they're gonna come to pass. And we should never be like upset about how the day goes, because we didn't know how it was gonna go anyway. Right? We didn't know how it was gonna go anyway. So if we give God all of that as he deserves, and knowing that every day is a blessing, that we shouldn't be worried about that. So let's not reject God, shall we? All right. So how can we change our hearts? How can we ask God to go deep in our hearts to forgive? And I think rejection comes from someone who does something to us, or maybe something else, but we still need to forgive that. We still need to go deep and talk about it. So Luke 10, verse 16, it says, the one who hears you hears me. The one who rejects you rejects me. And the one who rejects me rejects him who sent me. So it is evident that God is with us and that there is no need for us to feel rejected. He is there. He feels what you do. And he feels what I do. Or he feels like what the rejection we feel. And he is there with us. And that makes it all the better, because he feels what we feel. He's there, right? Whoever rejects us rejects him. Whoever rejects him, if we're in Christ, rejects us because we're one, right? And so he's there, and he's like, I'm with you. You don't have to feel rejected. You don't have to, forgive them. Do what you have to do. I'm here for you. Don't feel rejected because I'm here. All you really need is me. He's been trying to say this since day one to everyone. All you really need is me. And I found it very evident. Like, it's very evident that all we really need is God. Everything else will be added. But all we really need is God. And Paul was a very good example of how all he needed was God after. He only had himself. And he was totally fine, just like Jesus. And I know that Jesus might not be a good example, but he was still flesh. And he was not needing anyone else but God at that moment. You know what I'm saying? He did everything that he needed to do with God. So, ending scripture I'm going to have for tonight is Psalms 139, 13, verse 14. You formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. So we know we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And the reason we're rejected because we might have not known that. But I think once we get to that source of, yes, we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that everything that people have said about me, everything that I'm feeling rejected about or unforgiving about, I'm able to flip that around and do the right thing. And to help me, because evidently me not forgiving and me feeling rejected is hurting me inside, not the other person. They might be living lavish right now, doing what they gotta do, but you are still hurting inside, and we don't want that for you. We don't want that for me. We don't want that for no one. Okay. So I want us to go back to that verse every time you don't feel fearfully and wonderfully made, which is okay, right? Or when you let the words of yourself or others create lies in the mind. To go back to that verse and to think about, yes, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And it's okay sometimes. We need reminding. And that's why we have the word of God to do so. We have the word of God to do so. Thank you guys so much for listening to me tonight. And if anybody wants to come to Christ, or if anyone wants prayer, I'm going to pray for you guys, and then we're going to end it for tonight. Okay. So God, I just thank you for tonight. I just thank you, God, for being so evident tonight. And for using me, God, for using me evidently. Hopefully that they not hear me, but to hear you, like never before. I pray that you'll pray over the people who are not sure of what path they want to take, God, but help them to see you clearly like never before. Help them to run towards you. Help them to give them something to trust, to believe in, God. Give them an ounce of your gloriousness, your grace, and your mercy, God. Help them to see you clearly, so they can not give you a try, but to trust you and to go forth into you, because there's nothing that is more better than that. And I pray, God, that you will, the people who are already seeking you, God, I pray that you help them, God, to remain in strength, help them to seek you more and more, help them to continue in you, God, and to not get off track, God, and that they'll be able to grow, to be able to succeed, and be able to be open. So even both, pray that you help them stay firm as they move on. And I pray that everyone has heard what you wanted them to hear, and that they have taken this in their hearts and they will use what they have learned to express and to open up and to forgive, to move forward. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.